Should have had that there before we got started there. And we don't want that one. What's up, people? I'm switching it up this time. But thanks for coming through. Those who are already in chat, thanks for stopping by. If my music's too loud or my mic isn't high enough, just let me know. Like I said, it's Friday. I always like streaming on Fridays. Even though I mentioned yesterday that was yesterday is my brain is free to roam day. And then Fridays still for getting more. Brain is less roaming on Friday. How about that? But yeah, as I mentioned before, the blog is a little bit out of date. I am 2 versions, I think, behind on Angular, and I don't know how far I'm behind on Scully. So figured I'll try to get those updated and see what interesting things I run into or pitfalls. We'll see. Because my blog right now is just straight up Angular CLI workspace, so you may have to do the whole 2 versions jump, or not the 2 versions jump, but jump from 10 to 11 and then 11 to 12, and we'll see how that goes to see if it works out for me or not. On that note, I will give a quick plug here, if I can bring it up here. On dev.to. Let's switch to here. This is learning, I believe. There you go. Santosh posted an article this week on his journey on how he went from making $1,000 per year to $100,000 per year, and it's an amazing story. I'm definitely going to share that. So if you haven't read that already, check out the story. Post a link in the chat. Santosh is amazing, of course. So check out that story, and if you're not following the This Is Learning, I don't know what you call them, thread org on dev.to, definitely give them a follow also. So as I mentioned before, this is my blog, or my repo that powers the blog. It's pretty minimal. Notes to my future self is the theme, which I think is pretty good. If you see on here, you see a bunch of my previous live streams with Angular Unfiltered, which is on hiatus at the moment, but that's okay. I'm thinking about bringing some form of that back, but I don't know exactly how yet. If I know how, just haven't done it, because I want to kind of expand the show other than to be about hot takes, because I think that was more or less what it was geared towards, but I would like to at least have a more conversational show. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, you've seen the blog probably. So yeah, let's get into updating and see what fun or things get broken along the way. Audio seems still just a tad bit loud. There we go. I think that's better for me anyway. Let's see. Switch over to code. So as I mentioned, Angular setup here. I'm using two routers, I suppose. I'm using Scully, and Scully requires you to use the Angular router. And I also have the router that that I've been working on. Me and another colleague, Miro, have been working on that, and so I'm actually using them together in the same app, so they can work side by side. And the router, component routers, handling most of the navigations, but I still have to have the Angular router part in there to get it working. So let's see where we're at. Open a new terminal here. Should be up to date on everything, and we'll see if this hammers my connection or not. Of course, I said this in the beginning, but if you have any questions or stuff you'd like to chat about, feel free. Or if you just want to lurk in the chat, that's fine too. Let's see how much we can get done in the time that I have. So let's see, I'm not sure. Let's see if I do ng update Angular CLI at, I think it's 11. I just upgraded another project to version 11 of the CLI, so I think it's 11.2.13. The Angular core at 11. Guess we could just go check and see, right? Where Angular IO docs 11.2.14. Okay, that seems reasonable enough. Live chat. I want to see all the messages there. Oh, that's nice. Incompatible peer dependencies. What version of Zone am I on? NgRx Markdown. Okay, you know what they say. You only live once. So we're just gonna force it in there. Get these updates. Okay, updating some packages. ng packager. And see how that goes. While that's running, let's see if I can share this in the Discord. I wonder if I'm not sure if the Angular Discord they have a place for live streams. We'll see. We'll drop this in here and see what's at least in the NgRx Discord. Angular community. I'm just letting that run, and then we'll see if there's one in here. If you haven't joined the Angular Discord, you should definitely join that, or either the NgRx Discord. I don't see. Here we go. Live streams. Suppose it's okay to plug your own stuff in here, so why not? so Discord isn't popping up a bunch of messages maybe. Installing packages. Well, that's doing that. Come back to it in a second here. Let's check on Scully, and I'm gonna switch up my music here. And see what version are we on here. Scully, Jamstack toolchain, runtime tooling, plugin system. Create a blog, which is what I started with. Render MD files as HTML, several Angular schematics, all good things. Let's check the GitHub. Releases. Okay, 1.0.0. So we're still on that release, I suppose. Let's look at tags. Okay, so I might still be good on the version of Scully for the blog. And looks like we're up to version 11 now. It's not a huge Angular app, so looks like I got through the changes here pretty smoothly. Let's see what changed. Angular JSON extract CSS is gone. Bumped a bunch of package versions. Unlock routing module, relative link resolution, legacy. I don't think I need that one because I'm not using the router, Angular router for actual navigation, so, or using the router links anyway. Unless I don't, yes, I'm not using any router links, so Scully isn't gonna pick those up and try to transform them. So initial navigation went from false to disabled. What do I have to, oh, okay, I got an app module and an app routing module. So I'm going to take this one out. And I don't even think I'm using the app routing module. Where was that one? Oh, that's actually in one of my examples. Okay. So I'm going to, I don't think I need it there either. So I'm going to discard those changes. Okay, let's see. NG blog updates. Update to Angular 11.x. And I'm using Tailwind in this app also. I was using Material before, but now I'm just using straight up Tailwind. So I think Angular are my only set of dependencies. NgNeat, Tailwind. Okay, it's on version 7. That'll be another thing to update. But maybe we'll update all of the Angular stuff first. So we're gonna update again to get to 12. And hopefully this won't take that long. More peer dependencies. NgX Markdown still seems to be the culprit here. Let's check and see what version NgX Markdown is on. Okay, let's move that. NgX Markdown. .0.1. Does this one have any schematics? Doesn't look like it. Just digging through source. This ng package, package.json. Okay, no schematics. So I wonder if this will update NgX Markdown also. Let's see if I add that one to the list, if it will update all the things. Okay, that seemed to do it. Updating everything to 12. Along with TypeScript. It looks like, okay, yeah, TypeScript is on latest also. It would be interesting to see if I run into the issue where I did this in another project and upgrading to 12 started serving the app in prod mode. So I don't know if that's still a thing or not, but we'll see. All right, let's switch back. What is the apps observable load children doing in your repo? Yeah, so let me switch back to that. And my window has gotten smaller here somehow. Let's see. Okay, we'll see if we can fix that in a second. But here we go. Stretch that one back out there. The apps observable load children is code that I used for a tutorial, not a tutorial, for a blog post. In my app content, just move this up a little bit here. Okay, in my source, not my source, my content folder, I have posts, and I have Markdown for all my posts in here. That one was lazy loading routes with an observable. So there's a package called embed me, which will read files from source code and update those references in these placeholder spots. So that way I can write, you know, actual apps or add actual apps and things into my blog content, and then it transfers those pieces into the blog post itself. So the part below here is the part that was added to the file. So this was not here originally, this code snippet. And what this does, will read that file and drop that into this area here. Okay, I think it's probably switched on me again. Let's see. Yep, it did. OBS likes to switch my browser here. Okay, so you probably missed that. Let me try it again. Okay, so there's a package called embed me. It reads source files, reads these references, and takes the contents of those files and puts them and replaces the placeholders in here. So this was an empty file here, empty placeholder, and it drops that content in there. So whenever I run the embed me package, it will look through all my markdown files for those placeholders, so everything remains up to date for the places that I've used it. So like here, when I was upgrading to Angular version 10 or 11, it updated the app routing module. If I would run embed me again, it would update this that had that reference to the relative link resolution there. So yeah. Let's see, so where are we? Okay, so we're through that migration, looks like. And we are still flipping things around here. Okay, so Angular version 12, remove emit meta decorator metadata, lazy loading syntax, deprecated view engine i18n, not using any of that, skip tests. Looks like it tried to do that. Looks like jar factory, shadow piercing. Okay, automated. I had to do this in the project manually. Automatically migrate shadow piercing selector from /deep to the recommended ngDeep. That was a good change there. As we can see, we have some more updates here to the sample apps, polyfills, source. I don't think I'm using anything special in these environment files. I guess I should be typing out these git commands that I'm just using shortcuts, but really just wanted was to see what I typed in here for the message, so I can type in the same thing or updating to 12. Updating to 12.x. You could do a yarn build. Build custom Webpack browser schema. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I need to update in here. Query string. There's the embed me package I was talking about. We got 12s all across the board. But yeah, like I said, thanks for the question. If anyone else in the chat has any questions, we can chat about those also while these upgrades and things are running. Let's see, switch over to here. Let's see. Trying to find a tweet that I had this week. Twitter. I had some good questions there. I have to find it through. Maybe I can find it through mentions here. Scrolling Twitter on live streams, because that's what we do. Scrolling Twitter and live Googling. There we go. This was a question I asked early in the week. What are some things you like to see? And one of the things was nested state. Someone else asked about NX and component store. Using those two things together. Let's see if I can get all the replies here while that's going. How best to set up an app's dashboard, which consumes data selectors from lazy loaded feature modules. It's a pretty good one. Need more content on NgRx router. I guess they're talking about router store. Debugging reducers or anything with effects. Facades, nested state. NgRx with NX, which I did somewhat of a stream on that one another time. But if you think of anything else you'd like to see in a future stream, just let me know. Okay. We got back to everything built correctly. Didn't have any errors, so that was good. So let's start up. Oops, not there. Let's start up Scully in watch mode and see if we're still all good there. Creating route list. And just to double check, I'm still on the latest version of on Scully, it seems. So we're rendering all my files here. If I can get this working, I may see if I can work on my YouTube chatbot that was another thing that came up earlier in the week with Lars, who is using StreamYard but has hit his minutes. And I was mentioning using OBS, which is what I'm using right now currently, like I said, for single person streams. So if you're looking to get into the stream game, oh, I didn't update that one. Get into the stream game. Look at using OBS if you don't want to look for something you have to pay for. It's a pretty good tool on its own. So we're still rendering routes here. Okay, and I think we're good. Local host. Okay, so it looks like everything's good. All my styles and stuff seem like they're good to go. I do need to update my talks and things. Like I said, not a lot going on here. I guess I should add my YouTube channel to the, I didn't think about that. I should add my YouTube channel to the icons here. And I've also written another couple of blog posts since I have written my own blog. Some of them have been on the blog for Narwhal, and a couple of other ones for NgRx and RTK Query, which turned out pretty good, I think. So if you want to read on dev.to, definitely check those out. Talk about getting into DevRel, which is going pretty good so far. Very different, but better. All right, let's switch back. I'm going to update this custom Webpack also, just so I can be on latest. Not sure if I'm okay. I know I was checking to see if I had any TS-lint configs or anything like that, but I think when I started the project, I chose a minimal setup so it doesn't generate any particular TS-lint or testing stuff. So if I wanted to go back and change it later, I could. How has the Scully experience been so far? Would you easily pick it over the likes of Medium? Thanks for the question. Yes, I would. My Scully experience has been good. I started out with Scully, and then I have been posting to Dev.to, and I at least find the authoring experience on Dev.to to be better. But that's more because I have to work with Markdown, and I still want that. What I really want is like a WYSIWYG setup for authoring posts. Scully will let you give you the pieces to author it all, but you still have to like set it all up and still have to worry about the authoring side of it. I do like both of them better than Medium because you could just use Markdown. You can use whatever, and Markdown is a lot more flexible, especially when like cross-posting to other sites like Dev.to or my own personal blog that uses Markdown. So being able to transfer that between platforms is much easier, and I'd rather have the flexibility of those than to use Medium, because of course there's like the paywall, and I don't feel like people should have to pay for this type of content. So so that's where I'm at on rolling something versus using Medium. I'd rather use Dev2 at this point, just because I think the authoring tools are better, and there's less barriers to entry. But yeah, so I always get this itch every now and then to blow up the blog altogether and redo it in something else, but I've resisted so far. And I think because Medium lets me get my thoughts out quick enough, then I tend to use that, because that's sometimes the biggest hurdle for me anyway, is just putting stuff down. Developer experience is great for, do I feel the developer experience is great for Scully or somewhere else? Which ones do you mean? Okay, I'm going to stop that one. Let's see if we can switch back over to browsing here. Okay, now we're just for Scully. It's okay. It hasn't been great for me, at least not yet anyway. So that's something that I'm still trying to iron out. And I don't know if it's more to do with the Scully side or me trying to put the tools together around it so that the experience is better for me. Because like I said, once you start getting to at least for me, once I start getting to the point where I feel like the blog is getting, or like the infrastructure is getting in the way of me like writing, then that's of course when you get the itch to write it in something else. But that's just like a hamster wheel. A hamster wheel is like, I'm gonna write this in something else, and then that tool isn't good enough. So I think it could be better, but I think that's something that maybe someone could put together, is like an end-to-end kind of solution for like standing up a blog, like basically a template or something like that. That way it'll give you the blog out of the box, authoring tools. Because the thing that I run into is like I can write posts in Markdown pretty easily, like just using VS Code. But the other part about it is like, where do I go from there? Like if I want to drop an image in here, do I host my assets locally on the blog? Do I add them to a CDN and just link them in the blog? Or because if I put them in the blog, then I have to rebuild the app. That's part of what I don't like about the developer experience, at least, is anything that changes in the app, anything that you're hosting in the app, you have to rebuild if you change that before you can bring it into Scully. So for me, like editing a single post, it has to rebuild all the pages because of the way the routing is set up. Like all the pages, all the posts are hanging off a single route. So it doesn't know that I need to just update this particular post. So that would be one thing I think could be improved for me anyway. I don't know if others, I know there's some other people like Preston, who uses his blog on Scully, and I think he uses Netlify CMS for his. Trying to rebuild your site and use it for your blog. Cool. If you want to, feel free, drop a link in the chat. If you're making progress, or if you want to wait, then you can share it later. So definitely share a link when you're ready. Git commit amend. All about the sharing. So yeah, I agree. I had some of these thoughts, but I did not feel like I could complain much at the time because it was really new. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do the same thing. Like, you don't want to be like the first person to come out with be that first person to come out and be like, hey, this isn't working all that great for me. And then everybody's like, what do you mean? This is great. You're doing it wrong. Just keep switching on me. I'm not gonna rebuild OBS, that's for sure. But I will need to get that sorted out in future streams. I know at least it's telling me what things I can and cannot do while I'm on stream, which is like trying to resize windows and things. But yeah, but I think it could help the project. I mean, if it's like legitimately like slowing you down, then I think that's okay. There's a good way. There's ways to give constructive criticism, because I could have just said like, man, Scully's slow, or Scully takes too long to rebuild stuff. And that could be my other people's experience also. But they could take that and make it better, which I think they are working on that. So we'll see how that goes. And Robert says, totally agree with the rebuild of pages. Setup already looks good in case of performance. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you have a link, Robert, to yours, I will definitely take a look. I guess I could have linked to let me link to the GitHub repo for that. I showed it in the beginning, but I didn't link to it. So here's the repo. And there's the link. So feel free to fork it. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I can do better. So the blog can get better. And I don't have any, I don't have like any Google Analytics or anything on the blog yet. So that'd be another thing I could add to it. So let's see, that was relatively effortless, at least as far as I didn't have to change anything about my setup once I ran all the updates, and my router's still working good, so we'll call that a bonus. Don't need these couple of these packages anymore, because Angular component router doesn't need them anymore. It's pretty self-contained at this point. Prettier Firebase tools. What else do we got here? But yeah, drop those links. I want links to YouTube channels and all of it, because I sift through other people's code also. I don't know if I should say that on stream, but it is a thing that I think is good for learning, sifting through other people's code. Let's see. Remove unused dependencies. Dependencies. Okay, cool. Thank you. Let's see what version of, that was one thing I didn't update, was Tailwind. And I know Tailwind added some better support for, or at least Angular CLI has built-in support for Tailwind now. So I wonder if I even need I actually don't know what I need to be able to switch off of the custom builder, because that was the only reason I was using the custom builder, was the Tailwind support. So let's go take a look at NgNeat Tailwind, because I did not upgrade that one. Maybe Chow has, shout out to Chow, maybe he has a schematic for me that can fix my setup. So let's go digging. Libs Tailwind. Got some schematics in here. It's Tailwind 7.x. We leverage the built-in Tailwind CSS if you're using Angular 11.2. Invoke the schematics. Please run use with NX. NX setup. We don't use a custom webpack. Please follow the guide below and use add NgNeat, add Tailwind plugin. Okay. Let's see. Let's switch to let's see if I can switch back to the standard Angular dev kit / build Angular. Can't remember if that's what it is. Angular dev kit, build Angular source browser builder. I think that's right. And serve, I think it's the same. Angular dev kit / build Angular dev server. Because I already have a Tailwind config in here. So let's see if it'll just pick it up. Because I'm honestly not sure, but we'll see. Let's see if I can just do ngserve. Oh boy. Cannot find module AJV formats. That's fun. Build Angular. Do have Angular dev kit core in here, don't I? I do. Okay, let's run yarn again. And we're up to date. So where are we at? We were doing good. We were making progress. Hey, Andres, how are you? Good morning. How are you doing? How's your week been? Let's try it again. Node modules. They're gonna make me nuke this whole thing and try and see if that works. Cause let's check and see if that package is actually in here. AJV formats. No, it's not. All right, I'm gonna do this just to see if this will get me unblocked. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm doing stuff I would be doing anyway. Some stuff I would be doing anyway, just out in the open. Oh, great. AJV default is not a constructor. Now we're going down the rabbit hole. So this is all because I switched the builder. So let's see if I just go back to that. But yeah, thanks for coming through though. I usually on Twitch. I go ahead and plug that too, but I'm doing a little different today. Doing something a little different today on YouTube, just because I still like YouTube. Okay, so that's just broken all together, it seems. So serve works. Let's see, now building's broken. We're just broken all the things. I went from all working to all broken, and I'm running out of time. That's great. All right, we're gonna take the nuclear approach. And nuke all the things. Blog, yarn. Maybe that will sort out some of my dependency issues. Yeah, do you? Yeah, I think, do you work on the Scully team, Andres? If I'm mispronouncing your name, please let me know, because I would prefer not to. Um, but I'm not sure if you work on the Scully team or not. I haven't reached out to. Well, Sanders said that they were looking at making it easier to change a page and not have to rebuild the whole thing. But I don't know where that is on the roadmap, so I won't speculate just yet. So if I nuke this and then it works as is, then I think we're gonna call it there, and we'll call it a stream at that point. Because we were doing good, I think, and want to end well. All right, yarn build. Okay, so we're at least back in a state where we're the app builds now, and I'll have to see if there was something else I did wrong with flipping back to the native Angular Dev Kit builder without the custom builder, just for the Webpack config or for the Tailwind config. Because as you can see, there's some custom stuff in here, a little away from the project, but I'm pretty sure you need to rebuild the whole project. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. That's what it was last time I checked. So and that's okay if that's what it is today. Maybe I'll just have to look into integrating some kind of CDN for images. Basically try to minimize the number of rebuilds. So, oh, that's not good. Unknown version 46 of OP_MOB. That's nice. We have gone completely in the opposite direction. Module build failed. Current post CSS uses 8.3.0 post CSS preset env, which must be a transitive dependency. So I have broken something. Removed unused dependencies, but those weren't anything tied to post CSS. So I have to dig into that some more. But you saw it, people. It was working, and then it broke. So it wasn't me. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to call it there because we got to get to it. But yeah, thanks for everyone who came out to hang out in the chat. I'll be looking to do some more, maybe a more mix of streams on Twitch and YouTube. So, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll do one day on either one, and do some more open source stuff. So I think it's good to do. I like working on this stuff out in the open, so because I know other people are doing it too. And maybe I can put some more stuff on the blog, but we'll see. That'll be enough for this one. Appreciate all of you for coming through, and I'll see you next time.